Hello, my dear students. I'm Vinita, presenting 9th Standard Biology chapter, Tissue. Now, children, before I start the discussion of this chapter, Tissue, I want all of you to have a look on this visual, where two pictures of classroom display boards are there. I hope you will be able to relate with these two pictures. Now, children, tell me, whenever your class teacher asks you to do classroom display board, do all the students of your class participate in that activity? No, right? Children, you must have observed that in a classroom, in a functional classroom, there are many tasks, and each different task or work is distributed among all the students of your class. Am I right? There are many tasks like distribution of worksheet, distribution of notebook, maintenance of discipline, assembly duty, this decoration of display board, right? And all these work are distributed among different students on the basis of their potential, on the basis of their caliber. Am I right? For example, the students who are very creative, they get this responsibility to decorate the display board. The students who are very organized, they take up this task to distribute the worksheet or notebook. And some student, they maintain the discipline of the classroom. Am I right? Now, children, tell me why exactly this work is divided among different students to increase the efficiency, right? So that whatever work they have got, they will be able to do it efficiently, right? Children, in a very same way, as you all know, that in multicellular organisms, there are millions of cells, right? So, most of these cells are specialized to carry out a few functions. Each specialized function is taken up by a different group of cells. And since these cells carry out only a particular function, they do it very efficiently. For example, in human beings, there are muscle cells. Whenever they contract and relax, there will be movement. There are nerve cells which will carry messages from one place to another. There is blood which flows to transport oxygen, food, hormones, and waste material, and so on. So, children, multicellular organisms show division of labor. Cells specializing in one function are often grouped together in the body. This means that a particular function is carried out by a cluster of cells at a definite place in the body, and that cluster of cells called as tissue. So, children, tissue can be defined as group of cells that are similar in structure and they work together to achieve a particular function. Okay. Now, children, in this visual, you will be able to see one plant picture and one animal picture, right? Now, tell me, children, how exactly plants are different from animals? I'm sure you'll say that plants are stationary and animals they move from one place to another. So, children, if plants are stationary, obviously their energy requirement will be very less. They will consume less energy. And as animals they move from one place to another, so their energy requirement must be very high. Children, because of this basic difference, plants are mostly made up of dead cells, which can provide mechanical strength as easily as living ones. And also, they need less maintenance. But as animals, they require a lot of energy, their body is made up of more number of living cells. Okay. And because of this reason, plant tissues will be different from animal tissues. So one by one we will talk about these two different types of tissues. First, let us talk about plant tissues. Children, in this slide there is this one flow chart showing the different types of plant tissue. Okay, this whole flow chart will give you a very clear understanding for the different types. Okay. Also, later on, you need to draw the same flowchart in your notebook. Children, this plant tissue first of all divided into two types on the basis of power of division. That means if the tissue has got the power of division, then it is called as meristematic tissue. Okay. And if the meristematic tissue has lost the power of division, then it will transform to permanent tissue, which consists of cells which do not divide further. Okay. Then this permanent tissue will be divided into two types on the basis of composition. If the tissue is made up of same kind of cells, it is called as simple permanent tissue. And if the tissue is made up of different kinds of cell, it is called as complex permanent tissue. Okay. This simple permanent tissue will be further divided into parenchyma, collenchyma, and sclerenchyma on the basis of structure, function, and location. The detailed discussion of these three different types of tissue will be there in this presentation only. Okay. This complex tissue is further divided into two types, xylem and phloem. Okay. Xylem is made up of tracheids, vessel, xylem fiber, and xylem parenchyma. Okay. Phloem, which helps in the transport of food, it is made up of sieve tube, companion cells, phloem fibers, and phloem parenchyma. Okay. Children, once the discussion of these different tissues will be over, then you'll be able to remember this flowchart too. Okay. Let us talk more about this meristematic tissue. This meristematic tissue, as just now I have said that these tissue, they divide, they have got the power of division. Okay. Now this meristematic tissue on the basis of location, it is divided into three types. First is apical meristem, second is intercalary meristem, and third is lateral meristem. Apical meristem is present at the tip of the root and stem. Okay. So whenever this apical meristem will divide, there will be increase in the length of the plant part will be there. Okay. Second is the intercalary meristem, which will be present between the internodes. Okay. And third is lateral meristem, which will be present at the side, and this lateral meristem will be responsible for increase in the girth or diameter of the plant part. Okay. Now children, as this meristematic tissue, they are very active tissue. So these tissues will be made up of cells which will have very dense cytoplasm. They will have very thin cell wall made up of cellulose, and prominent nucleus will be there. Okay. And cells of meristematic tissue will lack vacuoles. Okay, because their main function is division, their main function is not storage. That is why vacuoles will be absent on in the cells of meristematic tissue. Okay. Now let us talk about permanent tissue. Permanent tissues are those meristematic tissues which have lost the power of division. Okay. So whenever the cells of meristematic tissue, they loses the power of division and acquire permanent shape, size and function, then the process is called as differentiation. Okay. Now let us discuss about the different types of permanent tissue. First type is parenchyma, second is collenchyma, third is sclerenchyma. Children, we will do the comparative study on the basis of structure, function and location. Here is the transverse section of parenchyma, and here is the longitudinal section of parenchyma. Okay. So as you can see here, the cells of parenchyma tissue, they are isodiametric in shape. Okay. So the cells of parenchyma tissue, they are living cells. Okay. Same way in the collenchyma, cells are living. But the cells of sclerenchyma, they are dead cells. Okay. Now as you can see here in the parenchyma, there is very thin cell wall. Okay. But in case of the collenchyma, in the corner you'll be able to see some thickening. So in the collenchyma, there will be irregular thickening at the corner of the cell wall. Okay. But in sclerenchyma, there is a regular thickening in the cell wall, and that regular thickening is because of a cement-like material called as lignin. Okay, this is a very important point of difference. As you can see here, in case of parenchyma, as the cells are isodiametric, lot of intercellular space will be present. Okay, but in the collenchyma, very little intercellular space will be present, or sometime it could be absent. And in sclerenchyma, intercellular space will be absent. Okay, parenchyma helps in the storage and support, but collenchyma, they provide mechanical support. It is also responsible for providing flexibility. Okay. And as just now I have told you that in the cells of cell wall of sclerenchyma, there will be a cement-like material called as lignin. So because of lignin, the sclerenchyma is responsible for providing mechanical strength. Okay. Parenchyma will be present in the root and stem. Collenchyma is present in the leaf stalk below the epidermis, and in the stems of climber plants. Okay, and because of this collenchyma, these structures will be very flexible. Okay. Sclerenchyma is present in the hard covering of seeds and nuts, in the husk of coconut, around vascular bundle, as well as in the leaf veins. Okay. Children, when I have told you about the transverse section and longitudinal section, let us see how exactly we get this transverse and longitudinal section. So, longitudinal section is the one when the part is cut along the length. Okay. But transverse section is when the plant part is cut across the length. That means when you are cutting it horizontally, you will get a transverse section, and this is the way you will get longitudinal section. Okay. In the next slide, you'll be able to see transverse section of these three different uh, types of permanent tissue. Okay. Children, in the parenchyma, whenever the chlorophyll pigment will be present, then they will be called as chlorenchyma. Okay. And in the same parenchyma, suppose if air cavities are there, then that will be called as aerenchyma, which will be responsible for providing buoyancy to the plant part. Okay, generally in the aquatic plants, aerenchyma will be there. Okay. Now, on the basis of the topics we have discussed today, here is worksheet 1. First question is, what do you mean by differentiation? Children, this is very important question. Okay. I hope you remember the answer. Differentiation is the process with the help of which meristematic tissue is converted to permanent tissue. Okay, that means they loses the power of division and acquires permanent shape, size and function. Okay. Second question is, why are plant tissue different from animal tissue? You can write this answer in a tabular form too. Okay. Third one is, how is sclerenchyma different from collenchyma? Children, for this question, minimum 2 points of difference you have to write. Okay. That's all for today's session. Thank you. Have a nice day.